From a Saturday Night Live perspective, duh, you have to. If Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are sitting in your audience, you have to involve them somehow because it's what everybody's talking about. I think I've seen one other sketch from the 50th anniversary special, the one about Domingo, like those are the only two viral clips that I've seen from this moment. So I don't fault Saturday Night Live for doing that. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. I hope you've had a fantastic week. What's today? Thursday? I don't know. You guys remember when I told you last week that I was starting to feel a little sick? And sometimes it's part of girlhood to be like, am I convincing myself that I'm sick? Is it because it's 11 degrees in Northeast Ohio right now? Is it because I have not left my house since Sunday? Is it because I took a 3-hour nap that I feel a little ill? We always talk ourselves out of our feelings. And I just want you to know I got hit hard and fast with the influenza. I was down for the count. Feeling a little bit better. I know you can hear my dog losing his marbles. It's probably the Amazon man delivering my Delsum, because now that the flu is gone, I have this chronic cough. I do have this humidifier pumping all the way up. 5-speed. If it looks like we're hotboxing in here, I promise my husband David did not pick up a new habit that I'm not aware of, or maybe he did and I'm just not aware of it. But that's my life right now. I'm using the Vapo Cool Severe because that's how I would describe it, severe. And I think you're only supposed to have like 3 of these a day. I have 3 an hour. Okay. So we're getting there. But you know what? The positive about this all, the silver lining, I do think that it is allergies, okay? I've been on everything. I started, what's the medicine with the C? Claritin earlier this week with my neti pot. Stopped sneezing, stopped having all of this mucus. I think I sound a little better, probably not, probably still a little nasally. But it's like as soon as all those other symptoms went away, that's when I started coughing. But I'm thinking it's got to do with this postnasal drip and that it's allergies and that I'm like narrowing in on the cause, the root of the problem, right? And I looked up my insurance, made an appointment that's not in May because, my primary care doctor made me an appointment, but the allergist couldn't see me until May because he's booked and busy, the most popular guy in town, obviously. But I found somebody else and I'm going in 2 weeks. So I'm just counting that as a win. I also want to say, before we jump into this week's episode, I want to say thank you to everybody who took some time to listen to, seriously, mine and David's new podcast. Nobody messaged just saying that they hate it. So that's a good sign, right? Everybody who messaged me said they liked it and was laughing. We're having an issue with Apple, what do they actually do all day, right? Apple Podcasts specifically, which 75% of my audience is listening on Apple Podcasts right now, so maybe I shouldn't be bashing. But we've been trying to get this podcast uploaded for a week and a half, and there's still issues. Get it together, Apple. We're trying. I promise we're trying. So in case you missed it, if you watched on YouTube or if you listen on Spotify, there should have been a new episode out on Tuesday. We just decided we're going to skip it. Second weekend, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. We want everything to be uploaded on the same schedule. So as soon as this Apple stuff gets fixed, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming, and then we'll be on our merry way. We have episodes in the can ready to go for y'all. So it's not us, it's them. But we are working on it, I promise you. Okay, I'm going to do something a little different today when it comes to the structure of the pod. We're still going to have is it kind of the top 3? I don't know. Everything that happened that wasn't the deep dive or final thoughts is about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So basically, I just did a roundup of everything that has happened with that on the legal front in the past week. So we're just going to go through it because it's a lot. Blake Lively submitted an amended complaint. Her and Ryan Reynolds went to Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and also Colleen Hoover is back on Instagram. So if you remember Colleen Hoover, she's the one who wrote the book, It Ends With Us. She's the one who gave the rights to Justin Baldoni, right? Is back on Instagram. She deactivated her Instagram shortly after showing support for Blake Lively because she was getting annihilated in the comment section, right? Like, I don't blame her. I would have been out of there too. Well, now Brandon Sklenar, who played Atlas, was on a morning talk show, and he was asked if he was Team Justin or Team Blake. He laughed and said that he was Team It Ends With Us, right? So both people in the beginning, some people are like, oh, that's interesting because at first they supported him, Blake, and now they're kind of backtracking. I don't really think that they're backtracking. I just think they don't want to get slaughtered in the comment section. You know, I feel like they're probably keeping it close to the vest. They're letting it play out, as we're going to see with some of the information that's in the amended complaint. There are other cast members that are not ready to talk because they weren't named, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyways, that was kind of the precursor to us getting to this weekend, the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary celebration. And who ends up walking the red carpet? It's Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Now, Saturday Night Live is a huge deal, right? This would have been a huge deal whether or not Blake and Ryan were there or not. However, it was a monumental deal that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were walking the red carpet. Every single news outlet led with a photo of those two on the red carpet. Every headline was talking about Ryan and Blake being there. And then Ryan even had a little cameo on the actual 50th celebration. So Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they're standing on the Saturday Night Live stage and they're looking out into the crowd and they go, oh, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds stands up. They're like, hey, how are you? He goes, great. Why? What have you heard? And everybody laughs, right? Obviously, a reference to what's going on legally with them in the world that is the internet, right? They're poking fun at it. Well, people were really confused by it. Some people that really rubbed them the wrong way, including Justin Baldoni's lawyer. And some people are like, who cares? It's, they're a Hollywood actor couple. They're going to go to these big fancy events. Ryan Reynolds is a comedian, right? If that's what you want to call him, he's going to poke fun. Well, a showrunner for Saturday Night Live, and yes, I did see this on Candace Owens' TikTok because we had to give people credit, but I did see that a Saturday Night Live showrunner was on a morning show called Fifi, Fev, and Nick for Breakfast. And they were talking about, the event. And basically what this showrunner said in this interview was that Ryan Reynolds had a different line in the rehearsal for the show, and he pitched that line to replace it. He says, we wouldn't want to do anything too controversial unless they were in on it. That was his line, his idea to do it. My opinion is that it's a little tacky. I get it. Okay, from a Saturday Night Live perspective, duh, you have to. If Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are sitting in your audience, you have to involve them somehow because it's what everybody's talking about. I think I've seen one other sketch from the 50th anniversary special, the one about Domingo, those are the only two viral clips that I've seen from this moment. So I don't fault Saturday Night Live for doing that. When it comes to Ryan Reynolds being okay with that involvement, I think he's a celebrity, and most times celebrities like attention, and some celebrities like attention whether it's good or bad, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and call him a narcissist. I don't know him as a person, but I do feel like if you are extremely rich and famous, to the level of Ryan Reynolds, then you have some of that in you. Well, Justin Baldoni's lawyer did not react kindly to it. So Brian Friedman was on Hot Mics with Billy Bush, where he says, I'm unaware of anybody whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation. It's a valid point, right? I mean, you can't say that that's not a valid point. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And I didn't include this in my research this week for the episode, but before I popped on here, I did see a headline that said something like Blake Lively can't go outside. She's traumatized from this legal situation. She doesn't want to leave the house. Now, this could just be some source in Timbuktu who wants to get a payday from Page Six. But if there's any validity to it, you do not go to the Saturday Night Live 50th celebration anniversary, have your husband say a line joking about your legal woes, and then call Page Six and say, I'm scared to go outside. It just does not make any sense, right? So not only that, we kind of have been waiting for this amended complaint from Blake. Her legal team asked, hey, can we file an amended complaint? They wanted until March to do so. The judge said no. It first was a different date, but they gave her a few extra days, and the date ended up being February 18th, which was this week, Tuesday, that they had to file this amended complaint with whatever they needed. So the word on the street was that more people were going to come forward, that it was going to validify somewhat more of Blake Lively's claims because she's not the only one who had issues with Justin Baldoni. Well, that kind of happened, but in a very vague way. First of all, they didn't submit it until like 11:59 p.m., so they waited until the very last second. I don't know if that... My brain goes to they don't want every content creator, at 5 p.m. to get a hold of this and to be making content all night long about it. I mean, people are going to do it anyways the next day. But at midnight, most people are sleeping and they're not going to get it. But anyways, it mostly was more of the same about like smearing in the media. And then this other amendment is 2 other female actresses were made uncomfortable by Justin Baldoni. They're not named specifically, although the complaint says they would testify in court and they would cooperate in discovery. So the court document referred to Blake Lively as only one of multiple women Baldoni allegedly 1,000,000% made uncomfortable during the project. Like I said, they're not named specifically due to concerns over cyberbullying and retaliation, but they are allegedly willing to testify and produce responsive documents in the discovery process. So part of this amended complaint, Blake Lively was adding more text messages. This is a text message that she sent to her friend while filming the movie. It's like HR nuts today, the both of them. I wasn't expecting that turn. I mean, it's pretty present, but today I came home and cried. Talking about Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath. In another text included in the complaint, she refers to both of them as creeps, saying like, keep your hormones to yourself. This is not mine. I don't want it. I don't want your gaze or words or tongue or videos of your naked wife. Yeah, it's shocking clowns. And also in that amended complaint, a new claim of defamation. It's more of the same, right? And everybody is assuming that these other 2 women that were made 100,000,000% uncomfortable, whatever it was that she said, could be Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer, which Jenny Slate, big part of the movie. She plays Ryle's sister, and then Isabella plays a younger version of Lily Bloom. Justin Baldoni's lawyer is like, okay, this is underwhelming. He called it hearsay. He's like, you're going to get this amended complaint, cause another media stir, and then you're not going to name the names. All it is hearsay. Like, where is the evidence? He said. So I don't know, not a lawyer, but I also was kind of underwhelmed by it. I feel like if you're going to come out with an amended complaint, you need to have all guns blazing. You need receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, right? And I wasn't getting that. Now we'll see if it is Jenny Slate and Isabella, if they testify in court, that might have a different outcome. But as of right now, I kind of agree with Brian Friedman where it was a little underwhelming. All right, let's get into this week's deep dive. Now, I know there was a new episode of Summer House last night, but unfortunately for me and my recording schedule, as I record this on Wednesday afternoon, we can only talk about the Summer House premiere, but I would just be remiss if I didn't deep dive the Summer House premiere with my people. You guys, I don't know about you, but I desperately needed the Summer House premiere, that big white kitchen with all of that window light. I was like sitting there curing my own seasonal depression as it's -3 degrees where I am right now, just by looking at that big, beautiful white kitchen, that big, beautiful swimming pool. I'm going to get into all of the main talking points, but honestly, you guys, this is kind of wild. This season premiere of Summer House was the first time I watched the show, and I had the thought, am I too old for this now? When newbie Lexi said purr to Jesse Solomon when he said, I'm 31 years old, I was like, this might be my time. I might have to go after this. My chronic fatigue is flaring up, right? Like my bed sores are flaring up because did she just say purr? But anyways, I then reminded myself that Kyle Cook is 42 years old. So if he's sending it in the Hamptons at 42, surely at 32, I can watch it with my Vicks Vapor Severe cough drops in my mouth and I will be okay. So Lexi and Bailey, two newbies, although Bailey has been erased, poof, vanished. Where'd she go? Everybody's wondering, where's Bailey? It's like the new Where's Carmen Sandiego? Where's Bailey from Summer House? So word on the street. Well, first of all, we knew that I knew that she was a newbie. I had heard her name. The event that I went to that was filmed for Summer House last summer, she was there. But she's not in the promo picture. She doesn't have a bio. And she also wasn't at the premiere party, which is the biggest red flag for me. You know, sometimes they make these people a friend of, they pop in and out. But the fact that she wasn't at the premiere party, I thought was kind of sus. Although I don't think Danielle Oliveira was there either, and she's technically a friend. So there's this rumor that maybe Bailey was talking smack about the cast, crew, show and got fired. I have a hard time believing that because like talking smack is 95% of the job, right? Like, especially if you're talking smack about the other cast members, like, congratulations. Welcome to reality television. Like, in my opinion, she's doing her job if that's the case. But we'll see. Like I said, I don't know if the rest of the season she's just going to disappear into the night and we're playing Where in the World is Bailey Henderson. But for right now, people are wondering what's going to happen with her. Emeril is another newbie. He did not make an appearance in episode 1, but you know, sometimes they like to give us little sprinkles of newbies, so I'm sure he'll be there soon enough. Fan reaction to Lexi is a little... I don't know. She seems like a very sweet girl, right? But she just triggers something in me because at this particular moment in time, look, she's 26 years old. She's hot. And I feel like, you know, she wants to be the hottest person in the room. No shade. When I was 26 years old, I also wanted to be the hottest person in the room. I was doing a smoky eye all the way to heaven and back, you know, every time I was going out at age 26. You know, right now, I prefer a sweatshirt. You know, I'm lucky if I get top and bottom mascara on. You know, it's just a coming of age. But when we were 26 years old, we all wanted to be the hottest person in the room. But this is another moment where I'm just like, am I too old for this show? I don't know. Lexi and Jesse are definitely going to be an item, although I feel like we already know how it's going to play out. I feel like they are this season's Sierra and West, where they're like hot and heavy and then things go south and, you know, what's going to happen? It's going to end badly. She should have shut it down the moment he asked her if she was ditzy. Rude. Now, to be determined what Sierra has to do in this. You know, in the trailer for the season, they're kind of making it seem like there's going to be a love triangle between Jesse, Sierra, and Lexi. I would be very surprised by that. I mean, even last season, Sierra was like, I wouldn't let you date any of my friends, Jesse Solomon. You're a scumbag. Didn't she call him a scumbag? I don't know, something like that. And he was like, that's kind of rude. That, along with the fact that Jesse and West are bunk buddies, and West, you know, obviously had a rendezvous with Sierra last season. So would Jesse do that? I don't know. Who am I to say? But that brings me to Sierra and West. West in his middle part, I can't. West, what are you doing? What are you doing, sis? With that middle part and like two curly cues coming out right at the top. I'm like, oh, Lord, Sierra, that's all you need. That's all you need, right? You know, do you ever just look back on your exes and they have a middle part or they have like a handlebar mustache and you're like, was I like mentally ill when I was dating this person? Was I not fully conscious, for a year of my life? Like that's what it was giving a little bit. Sierra's upset about the New York Times article where Wes says he didn't want to be Sierra's puppet. It was always Sierra and the newbie guy. Our relationship ran its course. And she's like, well, he's never said any of that to me, which is alarming. And in my opinion, Sierra, after the reunion was thinking that her and Wes could give things another shot. And I think that's really what she's upset about in this New York Times article. It's fine if the relationship ran its course, but you should communicate that with Sierra. And she says in this confessional, I'm not going to answer whether or not I think, we could have gone again or gave this relationship another chance. And we all were just like, no. No, Sierra, no. What I hated about that interview was the Sierra's puppet and how he had just such this problem with, always being talked about with Sierra on his first season of Summer House. And I'm like, get a grip. You're lucky. You would to be so lucky to have a showmance. It put you on the map, dude. Shut up. Like, even if the relationship ran its course, you're not Sierra's puppet by any stretch of the imagination, but like it made you more interesting. So get a grip, scram. That's how I feel about it. I love the Sierra swat, the Sierra stiff arm. When Wes tries to hug her, we know that she confronts him at dinner. We've seen the little sneak preview. If you watched the episode this week, you've seen it. Everyone is saying you can tell Sierra's fresh off the traders because she's coming to that dinner with round table energy. Like she's just ready to destroy. She's ready to banish West from the Summer House. And honestly, I'm here for it. I like it. In other news, Lindsay's pregnant and it's the biggest announcement of her entire life. Everyone gathers in the living room and Lindsay wants to say a couple of words and then goes through the entire 8 seasons of Summer House. 48 years ago, Lindsay was dating Everett, and then we go on from there. I loved the energy. I missed the energy. 8-season recap of Lindsay Hubbard's love life was giving the same energy as Kyle Cook in his 17-page email that he sent to the rest of the castmates, right? If you know, the OGs know the 17-page email. We get flashbacks of Everett. Paimon, I thought Paimon was a fever dream. Nope, that really happened. Carl 1.0, Stravy, Carl 2.0. She says the universe had its own plan, and in my plan, I am pregnant. What? We had no idea. They didn't have any idea, but we knew this was coming, right? Everyone is happy except Jesse, who calls it weird. He says he's concerned of how Carl is going to feel. I've seen a lot of people be mad at Jesse Solomon for his reaction to Lindsay Hubbard announcing her pregnancy on Summer House. On one hand, I think it's okay for Jesse to be concerned about his friend Carl. They're friends. On the other hand, he says it's weird that there is a pregnant lady in the Summer House. To be determined. We actually don't know, right? However, is it weird for a pregnant woman to be in Summer House? Is it weird for a sober Carl to be in the Summer House? I think it depends on your view of the show. And we have this conversation a lot. Is Summer House about a group of young bucks partying it up in the Hamptons in the summer, or is it about this specific cast and their life? For me, I'm way more invested in the people than the premise. So I would much rather have a pregnant Lindsay and a sober Carl, honestly, both of them, in the Summer House than 2 newbies that I have no idea who they are. That's just me. You may have a different opinion, but that's just me. I love how Lindsay posted it on Instagram 5 seconds later. It just feels like reassuring to know that we found out about Lindsay's pregnancy the same time the Summer House crew found out about Lindsay's pregnancy. Makes us feel like more a part of the family, right? No one knows who the baby daddy is. I do. I met him in the early days. She calls him a normie, can confirm. He is a normie, and maybe that's what she needs. There were these rumors about whether or not they were still together. Posted on Dumois a couple weeks ago. When Lindsay was on Watch What Happens Live last week, she said Turner, her baby daddy, was backstage at Watch What Happens Live, so it appears that they're still together. Everyone is waiting for Carl Radke to come through those summer house doors. Everybody is waiting for Carl Radke to bust through the door because they can't open the door. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that. Something's wrong with the door. They have to body check themselves into it every time they want to open it. So the doors are going to swing open and he's going to see Lindsay's banner sonogram hanging in their living room, right? And Carl's talking to the producers. He's like, I'm still nervous about seeing Lindsay. Just found out she was pregnant yesterday. I don't know what's going on. Producers are like, it's okay. This is uncharted territory. I love when they keep the producer conversations in the show. I love it. Break the fourth wall. I'm here for it. Make the fourth wall, cast members of Summer House. I just love it. Carl says he has anger and resentment towards Lindsay. And people are like, about what? He broke up with her. It's like, okay, maybe he has resentment towards Lindsay about the fact that she accused him of not being sober on national television. I feel like if that were me, it would take me a while to get over something like that. I feel like if you have anger over the relationship ending, I don't know. I'm not here to judge how Carl feels, the same way I'm not here to judge the fact that Lindsay doesn't care how Carl feels. I think it's good that Lindsay doesn't care how Carl feels. She's clearly moved on to the next chapter of her life. But I feel like, you can feel Carl's heartbeat through his mic pack, right? When he's in the bathroom and he's taking deep breaths, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel anxiety for Carl in this moment. And you know what it reminded me of? I think it all boils down to this. Last season, Lindsay and Carl got in this fight at the steampunk party. And Carl says, Lindsay is able to have a fight with me and compartmentalize and walk across the party and have the time of her life, put it in the back of her mind and not think about it until the next morning. I can't do that. He says, I can't shake these feelings. I am pent up and anxious the whole rest of the night. And it's kind of the same here, right? Even though months have passed, I think just the way that they get through traumatic situations in their life is different. Lindsay's able to move on very quickly. Is it a defense mechanism or is she just able to do that? I don't know. Carl holds on to things more. It takes him a while to work through things. And, we see it clear as day here where Lindsay is happy in a new relationship, pregnant, and Carl still has anxiety about seeing her. I'm one of those weird people who are just like hoping and praying that somehow, some way, Carl and Lindsay can be friends again. I think, they've been friends for 10 years and sometimes things don't work out. Look, if Stassi Schroeder and Jax Taylor can end up being friends again, I mean, I know they're not friends now because Jax didn't go to Stassi's wedding. But if they can make it through, like Carl and Lindsay can get it together and figure something out. I kept hearing content creators who got sneak peeks to the season be like, ooh, the Summer House premiere is going to be the talk of the town. Like, everyone's going to be talking. And I'm like, I didn't really get it until we got the last 5 seconds, right? This new trailer where we see Paige, Amanda, and Lindsay Hubbard. I think at Lindsay Hubbard's apartment talking about Craig. 6 months later, Craig is betraying her. You're going to say I'm a cheater. I caught you texting 2 chicks in the course of our relationship. Now you're dead to me. And I felt it. Even though she was talking about Craig, she was like, and now Craig is dead to me. I'm like, I'm dead. I'm 6 feet under. I'm gone. Poof. Paige DeSorbo killed me on my tombstone. Right. Death by Paige DeSorbo in this little Summer House teaser. Right. And we're all like, what? Craig texting 2 chicks? Not Craigie. Not our pillow prince, Craigie, who worshipped the ground Paige DeSorbo walked on. Well, Craig went on Tamron Hall and we were all like, huh? What? What is this breakup press tour? Like, is somebody going to go on the Kelly Clarkson show next? What's going on? Craig went on Tamron Hall and he says, anytime your character is challenged, especially things that you're proud of, it's not great, but that's the life we live on television. Like I said, you can only control yourself, but I won't date someone unless I see myself marrying them because there's 2 outcomes if you date. You break up or you get married. He says, it really wasn't ugly or bad, and there wasn't infidelity. At the end of the day, we accomplished so much in 3 years. He says, I never cheated. He then calls it a retaliatory scene, right? He says, It was disappointing to see the direction her show went. I'm just grateful for the 3 years of a relationship that we had. It was really great. I'm 100 times better version of myself now than I was, and I think she is too. I think it was a retaliatory scene, he says. She got a lot of backlash from the breakup, which I was disappointed at. He says, at the end of the day, she fell out of love, and I wasn't the right person for her. And that is okay. If someone's not ready for you, you only live once. Like, go find your person. I agree. Sorry, I agree with everything that Craig said in this moment. Has it been carefully placed and crafted by a PR team? I don't know. He is a lawyer after all, so he's good with words. He's good with words. And I feel like, there's kind of been like this whiplash where at first they were like, yeah, we're all good. And then they're like, no, we're not good. But now Craig's like, yeah, we're good. And I'm just like, ping pong. We've been playing ping pong forever around here, whether it's Justin, Baldoni, Blake Lively, or Paige and Craig. And I'm over it. I can barely breathe. I'm losing oxygen, clearly, going back and forth so many times. But anywho, Craig, I don't know what interview it was in. But Craig did also say, I would have done anything to stay with her. I would have lost myself. And I feel like he already had lost himself. He says, I'm not a city person. I like my yard. I like my bees. I like my pool. I'm not in New York City. But this is kind of something that I had been talking about in the past on Patreon and even on episodes of MPT, where I'm like, Craig wants so bad to make this work that he's ignoring all of the glaringly obvious reasons why it shouldn't work. And if I leave you with a little PSA from the deep dive today, just know that whatever is meant for you and whatever is right for you is not that much work. It's not. And I say that as somebody who did a cross-continental relationship, but like our relationship itself was easy. And making big decisions was easy because every decision we made was together and we were always aligned with what we wanted for our future. So if you're out there and you're getting all of this tension from your partner, I'm just here to remind you that the love of your life is supposed to be your easiest and best relationship. Okay, that was my little Kelly Clarkson moment of the day. I don't know if Kelly Clarkson gives relationship advice, but that's just what I felt like. Last but certainly not least for our final thoughts, thought dump, Love is Blind. People are saying love is bland. People are saying love is bleak. Because what is this season of Love is Blind? They're in Minnesota, and I've been saying it, we can't tell a single one of these men apart from the other. To me, they're all Alex in different fonts. There's one guy, his name is Joey. He has long hair. He better thank his lucky stars that he has the long hair, because if he cut it, he would look like the other 5 Alexes. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who's talking. We don't know anything about these people. And we've seen 6 episodes of the pods. We aren't even out of the pods yet. We aren't even out of the woods yet. I've watched 6 episodes of Love is Blind and I couldn't even tell you who's engaged to each other. That's how mind-boggling and rattling this season is to me. I do know that there was this dude named Alex and this girl named Madison, and Madison was dating one of the other 6 Alexes, right? But she ended up with the real Alex, the OG Alex. But they didn't end up getting engaged. Oh, it was Mason. Madison was with Mason, right? And she didn't like Mason because Mason couldn't decide between her and Meg. And like, why are their names all the same too? Madison, Mason, Meg, like it's so confusing. Anyways, she was like kind of torching Mason a little bit. And Alex, in my opinion, it seems like Alex took his pod bro side over his potential pod wife. They broke up and he told E! News, we were just on different pages. We realized that a couple times throughout the pods, we have different styles of communication. We just realized that we weren't super compatible. Okay, get engaged anyways. Like that's where I'm at. Give me something, give me some drama, give me something to live for, give me something to feel exhilarated, exuberant, get engaged. Alex, number 1. But he didn't. And then you have Dave, who asks every girl, what's wrong with you? And talks about how his sister is going to disown him if he gets engaged on Love is Blind. I'm like, good, let her disown him. Give me something to talk about. I don't know why Dave's sister hates Love is Blind, probably the same reason the rest of us hate Love is Blind, because it makes us lose our marbles, our brain cells. Every time we come out of that, we feel like we have just been in the pods for 4 weeks and we don't know reality from this vortex that we're in. I'm sorry, this season of Love is Blind has really messed me up. I don't know I don't know if it's the Vicks Vapo Cool cough drops or if it's the 6 episodes of Love is Blind, but it's all just messing me up. Dave said about his sister, the internet is just insane because apparently having a good relationship with your sister is a bad thing. Sorry, she's cool, whatever. I think she's doing okay. If she was struggling with it, she would have been talking with me and texting me a lot. I think she's doing all right. I still have no idea why your sister hates Love is Blind, Dave. And it sounds to me like you don't have a clue either. Here's our first scandal of Love is Blind. Thank God it's not a paternity scandal yet this season. Daniel and Taylor, a pod scandal. Did Daniel know who Taylor was? Early on in their pod dates, he asked about her Instagram handle. She said it. And then they get engaged and she's like, I think he knew who I was. I've seen this Christmas loving man because he sent me a follower request. He was holding a drink wearing a onesie in front of a Christmas tree or a fireplace or something. He wasn't holding a drink. He was holding a cat. Like minor difference, you know. But she's like, I've been compromised. My integrity's been compromised. The pods have been compromised. Something so sacred has been compromised because this man knew I loved faith, family, and Taco Bell because it was in my Instagram bio. Did he know? Did he know who she was? Did he memorize that Instagram handle, faith, family, Taco Bell? And does that change things? For me, it kind of would. Because no offense, if I'm a Taylor in this world, I'm not ended up with Daniel. I'm not. And I'm no shade to Daniel, but he's just not my cup of tea. Okay? But she's feeling manipulated. She's feeling tricked, bamboozled. And I would feel the same way as her. So I'd be out of there and onto the perfect match. Honestly, I don't even know who is still together. I think we have 5 engaged couples. Joey and Monica, which that's kind of interesting, right? Daniel and Taylor, like I said, for long, we don't know. Sarah and Ben, I don't know who they are. Never heard of them. Dave and Lauren, I thought her name was Tara. And Virginia and Devin. Are we all confused? We're all confused. Maybe getting them out of the pods and like seeing them as a couple and seeing them at the couples retreat, you know, where true love goes to die. Maybe we'll be able to tell them apart a little easier there. But for now, they got me messed up. But I'll still watch it. I'll still hate watch it and report back to you. All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Because I'm in a fog. I'm in a haze. It's this Vicks vapor that's coming out. 5, it's all the way up. It's on level 5. So like I said, if it looks like we're hotboxing in here, we're not. But I am going to go turn it off. I am going to go rest the vocal cords. We'll see you tomorrow on the Patreon for your little pop culture extra. We'll see you for Bravo Friday, Bachelor Tuesday, all the things. If you have not done so, leave a review, a little 5-star boop boop, a little love you like a sis, because you know I do. We'll see you next week. And as always, love you like a sis.